All right, so we have um, our divider, right? And we also want to change this to span. Okay, so this is going to represent this section, right? Where you have the first line, the or, and then the second line. Okay, so we can give this a class name. So we can style it and then divide the container, and then we can give this a class name of divider, which is the first line. And since it has the same styling with the second line, we can also give this divider. All right, so let's see if we can style this. Okay, let's go to our Figma and select just one line and see the styling over here. So you have a border, and then width and height. So let's just copy this and paste it here. Okay, so let's see how it looks right now. Okay, so this is how it looks right now. Okay, this is how it looks right now, but we're going to fix that in a moment. Next thing we want to do is we want to give this a kind of let's flex it, right? So we're going to come here and then start the container, give it display, flex, right? Automatically it will take the flex row. Let's see what changes. Okay, good. So you can see we now have the line, the or, and then the second line. Okay, but something we want to do is why don't we add the gaps in between the three children? So we can do that by just justify content space between, right? Okay, good. Nice. Another thing we want to do is if you look at this, you find out that it's not aligned vertically, right? So we can do that by using our align items center, right? Okay, perfect. So this aligns the three contents. Okay, so let's look for the gap between the button and the container, which is 40 pixel. So we're gonna say margin top, let's say 2.5 rem, which is also 40 pixels. Okay, all right, let's confirm that. Okay, good, we have that. All right, so next thing we want to do is to design this section, which is the Google button. So we'll go to our HTML and then we'll create another div, right? And or better still, we can use a button. Yes, how about we just use a button? And then if you check well, you find out that this button has two sections. You have the Google button and then the login with Google. So you might want to download the Google logo. All right. All right, but I already did that. All right, so we can do the span. Okay, so two spans. This one represents the logo. So I'm going to create my image element, and then the source would be the image, the Google image. Okay, that's images. All right, so Google logo.png, alt, you can just leave it empty. And then the size of the width, which is an image attribute 24. Okay, then for the second item, login with Google, right? Login with Google. Okay. All right, so login with Google. Okay. All right, that's good. Let's format this. All right, so how about we give this button a class name so we can style it, because this is what we have right now. So it looks like. So, but we have to style it to look this way. So let's give it a class name and then call it Google button, right? Okay. So we can copy this, go to our CSS as a selector. Now we can go back to Figma and see what this button or what styling this button has. So you can see it has a border radius, a border. We can copy that and paste it here. All right, so giving border radius. What other styling we want? Let's see. Let's check for the padding. All right, so it has a padding of padding top of 16 pixels, padding bottom of 16 pixels. So we can copy that also. Padding top 16 pixel, padding bottom 16 pixel. Okay, let's check our button and see. Okay, so we have that. Next thing we might want to do is give it the background color of white, and then also make the width 100% so it pans out. So we can see width 100%, background color of white. Okay. Let's confirm that. Okay, good. This looks good. Okay, next thing we want to do is to align these two items, right? So it's here it looks like right now. So we can go here and set the display flex. All right. Remember I said once you set display to flex, it automatically pass the direction of the row, flex row, right? Okay, so that's it there. Next thing we want to do is align it to the center or justify it to the center. So justify content, center, align items, center. So this aligns the content, right? Both vertically and horizontally. Okay, so let's check the gap. I notice a gap between the logo and login, the text. So that's 10 pixel. So we can add a gap of 10 pixel. Okay. All right. So next thing we want to do is to style this, right? The text. So we have the color and font weight of 700. Okay. So first of all, we have to give it a class name or a selector. All right. You know what? Let's use an ID this time, and then let's call it login text. Or let's call it Google login text. Google login text. Okay, so we have this ID. We're going to copy this selector. Go to our CSS, and then okay, no, we're not going to use period now. For ID, we're going to use the hash sign. Okay, all right. So let's go back to our Figma. Copy the color of this, and then the font weight with 700. So paste this here, and the font weight of 700. Okay, let's see how that looks now. Okay, so also we might want to give it the size, or font size of 20 pixels. Let's do that. Font size of 20 pixel. Let's see how that works. Okay, good. So this looks better. And then let's check for the gap between this and the button down here. Okay, so 40 pixels. So what we can do, either we'll give it a margin top of 40 pixel, or we come to the button and then give it, since we already gave button margin, since we already gave, sorry, the divider, divider container imagine top of 2.5 frame. So let's just give this margin bottom of 2.5 frame. Okay, so remember our divider here, so it has a top of 40 pixel and a bottom of 40 pixel. All right, so then lastly, the gap between this bottom or this button and then this is also okay. This is 32 pixel, so we can give our Google our button, that's our Google button, can give it a margin bottom of 2 rem. Now if you calculate 2 rem is 2 times 16. Remember I said the default is 16 pixel, except you set it to 2 times 16 is 32. Okay, so all right, so we have that here. All right, so something that I also noticed is the gap between the login and the email seems to be bigger or seems to be wider or higher in the design. That's 64 pixels. So let's correct that. So how did you set what was our selector for login to continue? Okay, the H2. So let's look for that. And that's the login right content. So I'm guessing sign up right content. So let's search for this. Okay. So the margin bottom, let's change this to 64 pixel. Yeah, that's 64 pixel. Okay, I think this looks way better. Let me close this. Okay, this looks way better. All right. How about the font size? 700. Oh, okay. Sorry, the font width. This 700. Let's set that also. Font width of 700. Okay, so we have that all set. Now I want to show you how to use Google Fonts to set your font, right? Now when you click a font here, usually when you have designs, most times most of the fonts will follow one font family, right? If you check, well, you'd see that on Figma, it shows font family work sans, right? All right, so Google has a list of fonts. You can just on your Google, just go to or just search for Google Fonts. All right, and then select the first result. So this is Google Fonts. You can use the fonts here. They are free. Okay, so let's search for work sans and see if it's available. Sometimes you might not get to see the fonts here. If the font used is not available here. All right, so we have work sans. So we're going to select this. Okay, you can also test and see how the font looks like, right? This is how it looks like for all the font widths. So I'd already selected all these fonts, so I'm just going to take this out of my selection. These were fonts that I selected earlier on. Okay. All right, so we have these fonts. So what you do is, depending on the number of fonts or the font weight that you used in your project, you can now select the ones that you want. I don't think we use okay, let's just select this font weight of 500, that's medium. And then let's take 600. All right, that's semi-bold. And I think we use 700. And then 400, which is default font weight. This is also important, 400. All right, let's just take 300 too. Okay, so you can see here we've selected the different font weights. All right, so there are two ways for you to integrate this into your page. Either you use the HTML link or you use the CSS link, right? So let's you can see when it tells you to embed a font, copy the code into the head of the HTML. So let's try this first of all. Okay, we can just click copy here, right? And it just copies. So we're going to our HTML, we'll go to the head section, and then we're going to put it here. Okay. Next thing is we want to copy this styling. Okay. We go to our CSS and we can add it here to the universal. So what we're saying is font family, we want to use work sans, and this is a fallback sans serif, right? Because already it's already inbuilt. So if you don't get this, or if this is not available at that time, or this fails to load, it just has a default or a fallback to sans serif. So let's see. Okay, so you see that the font has changed. So we have the same font as what we have on the design, right? Now, the second way to do that, to integrate the Google font, is to use the imports. Right now, if you look well, you see that this is embedded in the style, right? So what you do is you copy this. Okay, let me just copy this. Okay, and then go to your CSS and then paste it just above every other styling. Okay, you don't need the style tags, so let's take this out. You just have as imports. All right. Okay, so you see it lists all the fonts with 300, 400, 500. So this is another way to integrate Google Fonts on your design. Okay, so I'll just take that out since we already have it on our HTML. I just wanted to show you the alternative way of doing that. Okay, so all right, so I think all right, yeah, so I think this works. Okay, yeah, so I think this works. All right, so let's go ahead and push this to our GitHub. Okay, so remember git add or git commit, and then a commit message. You can call it login, adding login page. All right, and then git push, set the upstream origin login, which is the branch that we want to push this to. Okay, so succeeded in pushing this to login. You can confirm that by going to our GitHub. All right, so if I come here, I'm able to see all my branches. So I go to my GitHub, my login branch, then I can see what I pushed. Okay, so all right, so thank you.